take it to a car show the other day, and the generator wasn't generating. We are pouring fuel. We got a brand new to us rear end in the back. Whew. Yep, and I remembered to put the fitting on. How about that? All right, we got everything cinched up. The way I do brake lines is tighten them until I think something's gonna strip out, and then I stop, and then when they start leaking, well, I go back and just give it all of it. I may not rank anywhere on the YouTube automotive channels, but I think I'm sneaking up higher and higher on the channels you're glad do not have smell-o-vision. I think I'm in like 31st place this summer behind pack animals of the Far East. That's pretty good. How about you, little reservoir? Pretty good. All right. It's getting to be the witching hour where something goes real wrong. And I'll probably hurt myself while I sing this song. Pedal in 3, 2, 1, engage. Oh yeah, let's see, we're already leaking right there. That's turning. It's always bad when you get a leak and then it doesn't turn. You're just like, oh man, I'm about to ruin this thing. Because you are, because you're gonna strip it and then you're gonna have to start over. That is one of those things about brakes that just is endless. You find a leak and sometimes you gotta take it apart and then put it back together, and it doesn't mean it's better that time. It just means you definitely have to start the hell over. Apparently I didn't tighten this thing at all because it's just going and going and going. Or I'm stripping it and stripping it and stripping it. Fluid scope 3000. Doing okay there. Doing good here, doing okay there. You guys watch for leaks. She ain't gonna do. This is gonna be a world of problems for us, so we're gonna have to get a new one. Gang, we are on hour 12 today, so I think the only thing I'm qualified to do at this point is strip the bleeder screws, so I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, I think we're sneaking up on things kind of sealing up, so if all of our lines continue to not leak, which would be great, then we've got to bleed everything, hope our wheel cylinders aren't leaking. Can't tell if that's grease or if we do have a little bit of a leaky wheel cylinder.
That's pretty important, Dean.
And if they're not, do a full bleed and hope for the best. But that's gonna happen for me tomorrow, for you, right now. Gang, it is late. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, and we've got to figure out if these bleeder screws will open and if we can bleed these brakes. It's been quite a morning. Edited a video and got that out, the Model T cowl one. If you watch them all, thank you if you do. And then I went for a run because I've been under this thing for days now. And I'm chugging along. It's 90 degrees out because I left after I edited. And I'm cruising up this hill and a FedEx guy pulls in to deliver a package. And I get right up next to the truck. He sticks his arm out and he's got an ice cold bottle of water. And I caught it like a torch running by. Just like, he passed it and I said, thanks man, you're a lifesaver. He said, you know, you're welcome, whatever, have a good day. So we got some good vibes going on. Hopefully that will translate into bleeders breaking loose and not breaking off or rounding off. Let's get in there. I need to find my spider-proof helmet though. Man, we haven't messed around on the front end. It's got evidence of creatures all over it. All right, we just broke it loose. So for me, when you're dealing with a bleeder that's been there for a while and you haven't really gotten into the brakes, really any brake part, it's strange. Brake fluid, once it's sealed up and it's in there, it's fine, but anywhere it's leaked out, you've got rust somewhere, or tight fittings or whatever. So I highly recommend using a 6-sided majigger when you're getting into it. A lot of box wrenches, including the cheap ones that I own, are typically like a 12 point. And that is a good way to round off a bleeder. It's fine to use it once you've gotten it cracked loose, but you're gonna wanna crack it loose first with something 6-sided. So if you're bleeding the brakes anyway, go around to all of them, crack them loose the right way, tighten them back up, and then you can start getting your buddy to pump the pedal or however you're gonna bleed them. Here at I Ain't Got Nobody Garage, cursory bleeding, I do like this. I grab this, some kind of hose. This is like lawnmower fuel line. They sold it at the O'Reilly, so I just grabbed a set. I usually keep this stuff around. You can buy it at the hardware store, clear tubing, it's fine. That's all you need. Just needs to squeeze onto the bleeder, put a wrench on it. I'll usually crack the bleeder open. So long as this is in a jar of brake fluid, once the air starts pushing out, it'll bubble out of here. And then anything that gets drawn back in will just be fluid eventually, if you have enough pedal to push the air from up there to down there. Maybe I should get this higher for this. That might be smarter. We're gonna try it like this. Anyway, thinking about that now, yeah, a shorter hose for this type of thing would be mo better, but we're a long way from being done. All right, that bleeder's open. Seeing any movement out there. Thought it was open. What's going on here? Nothing's going on here. That's the problem. Round 3. Now we're getting something. Apparently I don't know how to open a bleeder. Get anything? Somebody say something. I can see it moving. You guys are good. Check out this one-man brake bleeding operation. We reach up here into the nether regions of the vehicle, you see, and then we give it the old one-arm workout, you know. 3 is good because it's full of air. And then we gotta snake up this tubifer. Oh, for crying out loud. Go into the thing. Hey, I gotta use my more different hand. Can't get this other hand past that hand. That ain't gonna work. Need a new plan. Now this is gonna be great. Hang in there and watch this kind of genius unfold. Leave that guy right there. Look on there, pal. That work? I'll hold it down, kinda. I can't get it undone. Next plan, plan C. Plan C, bungee. Come on, pedal. Hey, that's gonna work till it comes loose and whangs me in the head. All right, well, let's try it. Let's try it. So we got that bungee. Now, all we've got to do is wander down here and crack the bleeder. Then we close the bleeder. And then we wander back over there, pump it up, bungee it off, come try again. This won't take all day or anything. I'm an idiot. All right, so I was gonna say lefty, but I don't even know. Where passenger side rear is not getting any fluid out of it at all, so that's a problem. There is probably a lot of air in the lines, but I even popped the bleeder out and mashed the brakes, and I don't have a drop. To me, it could be the wheel cylinder, but right now it feels like there's just not fluid getting to it, or enough fluid. So I'm wondering if the brake hose is semi-collapsed, partially collapsed. Don't know. But I have a new one, so we're gonna try that first.
Seriously?
Pretty confident the rear circuit on our master cylinder is working from our bench bleed process. Just check the box of assumptions after this if we don't get any results. The line running this way is loose. This has nothing left in it, but it does have some compressed whatever Squirty juice is in there. Not juice, squirty air. The bleeder's still out. Is this a wheel cylinder issue? Does anybody know? Anybody know? Feel like even if the wheel cylinder were seized closed, it would still shove fluid out the bleeder. Try compressed air. Let's try compressed air.
And smash that subscribe button.
All right, round two. This time with safety glasses, which is a better idea. Oh yeah. I was gonna try to play you a tune. All right, we'll go ahead and say that that's clear. Whether or not the wheel cylinder is any good, I don't really know. We do have a little bit of a leaky wheel cylinder. Let's finish replacing this line and try again. I had to unplug my lights because you guys only got so many extension cords, you know? Considering our situation, I know I got something going on out of this side, but just for giggles, because we have it apart, let's go ahead and make uber sure we're getting fluids all the way to this rear line. So watch the scientific beaker in action. That's weird. Not seeing what I want to be seeing. What the hell's going on? I feel like that should be just spraying brake fluid right the hell out. But it's not. Round two. Don't know what's going on. We're not moving a ton of fluid here. And we should be. We absolutely should be. Don't know what's going on. Gonna pretend something I don't understand. We'll put this brake hose on and see if we can put it back together and if going up will help the air get out. That master cylinder should have more than enough pressure to force air out. Up, down, sideways, left, right. I don't know. We'll put on the new brake hose. We'll see what's going on. Makes me think this wasn't the problem. This is the journey of brakes, ladies and gentlemen. Do we need to go to our box of assumptions? We bench bled the master cylinder. It seemed to be fine. We think we adjusted the push rod right. I suppose I could shim the master cylinder out if it's not fully returning. That could be a bit of an issue. Maybe we'll try that real quick before we change anything else, just see if we get a difference. Not really seeing the fluid levels decline in either reservoir either. So maybe I should just do a cursory crack of the front bleeders.
Missed it by that much.
Let them purge just a fuzz, and then we'll see if that changes anything. I can rationalize why that would be, but it shouldn't be. So standard practice would dictate you start at the bleeder furthest from your master cylinder. But standard practice kind of goes out the window when you don't get what you are expecting. And in our particular case, I thought I'd have more fluid cruising out the back by now. I'm gonna try this just to say I did it. I don't really see how this should matter, but maybe it does. Hell, I don't know. Not seeing a lot of fluid coming out of there. All right, I've monkeyed with this enough that I think that the push rod isn't returning all the way inside the master cylinder. And the reason I think that is because of what it's doing. There's not any real pressure building to the back end. It's kind of just push pulling, and the internals just have to fully reset. I know we measured and did all that jazz, but there was only like a few thousandths worth of, like we were on the money, but it didn't compensate for that rubber cover-upper thing. All right, let's see if we can just scoot her back. Take all the lines, everything with us. The lines will hold it, but this piece of aluminum you're on might. I want to move you before you guys go flying everywhere. Try Tried to give you a good view of the action there. Put you right in the splash zone. Oh, that thing already got plumb 8. Well, so I just trimmed out all the extra crap in there. I know somebody out there in TV land has done this before. Has set up one of these master cylinder kits. Let me know how I should have done it, because, you know, I was too busy being old school all that time before. So I never put power brakes on anything that didn't come with them stock, really. Like, at least no hot rods, no custom builds. How does that feel? Is there any resistance? Feels okay. I mean, I guess I could take a fuzz. Well, no, because we just removed that other thing too. So it should feel okay. So we should have a 16th and change clearance, like a 16th and like 5 thousandths clearance. That's the change. We'll try it. If it doesn't work, we know we can move it back and pull that little adjuster out, trim it down, and work backwards and shim out the sticky outy madoodle on our booster. Behind me, dangling down in the breeze, is this brake line. So we expect great things now. By great things, I mean a great big mess, if we're lucky. We are in the weeds at this point. We knew this was coming. We fortified ourselves with a force field of mental positivity, doing mental yoga, stretching out to make sure we didn't pull a frustration muscle. This stuff happens on brakes. Hot rod brakes are, I'm just gonna say they're always tricky, because they're always tricky. The situation we got going on right now is I don't have any substantial fluid going to either end of the system. We're starting with the rear brakes. So specifically, I got almost nothing going on with the rear brakes. I can tell there's a little pressure happening, but I can't even seem to empty the reservoir with both bleeders wide open. That tells me the most likely cause of that is the piston in the master cylinder is not returning. So at this point, fellas, I'm not gonna call it an assumption that the master cylinder is good. We bench bled it, it seemed to be doing all the master cylinder-y things. So now the most common cause of this, after a bad master cylinder, is simply that the push rod inside the master cylinder is not returning all the way. There's 2 valves in here. One for the primary, a little gap, one for the secondary. You push the rod, it all pushes together, everything kind of flows in this happy floating relationship. But if the thing doesn't return all the way, well, it doesn't get to where the fluid can drop in there and get pushed back out again. So, just to keep things a-moving, I think I'm gonna grab a stack of washers. We're gonna just space this thing out another 1/4 inch or so and just see what happens. And hopefully it works, and hopefully that's even too much, but we'll see. Apparently it's slim pickings on 3/8 washers around here. Do I have any? Oh, there's one. This is not good. Simple plan. All right, we're gonna slide this guy out again, and I'm gonna stack 2 washers, which is we're gonna call that roughly 1/8 of an inch. And that doesn't sound like much, but in our case, basically from the business end of the pedal into the master cylinder, it's 1 1/4 inches of travel. So that 1/8 of an inch represents roughly 10%. I'm trying to sneak up on it because I need just the sweet spot. If you have too much of a gap between your push rod and your master cylinder, whether it's, you know, directly from your pedal to your master cylinder on mechanical brakes or power boosted brakes, you're gonna have a kind of a sloppy pedal that nobody wants, because you're gonna go from nothing to resistance. And what you want is a good solid pedal, and the best way to get there is to have your push rod just barely not engaging the master cylinder. And considering we had to make that adapter to make this system work, that's why I'm suspicious that this is the issue. And once we figure it out, in theory, if we can figure out how far, if we can space this out and make it work, then in theory, we can trim our adapter down that amount, or maybe even a fuzz more, and adjust out with the other thing, the little sticky outy guy in the booster. So let's go ahead and do our 1/8 spacers. Get on there. Those don't fit at all. Round 2. There is no question, though, this lift is completely saving my life. If I had slid under here and out of here 1,000 times already, which is exactly what would have happened, every time I had to move to go to the front or rear or pump the pedal, I don't think I could bear it. I also don't think I would have taken on this job at all if I didn't have the lift. I would have put the rear end in, let the brakes, gone down the road. Said, one day, I hope for the best that we don't just run off the road and die. All right, I don't know how to show this to you, but I gave it a couple of these ones, and the fluid level started to actually decrease in the rear reservoir, one to the rear brakes. Front and rear, it's tricky, fellas. It's tricky and it's not universal. Have I said that enough? The light does strange things. All right, that thing is full to the brim, so we'll give it some gentle, slow pumpification. The other thing is I gotta let the pedal return all the way, and the return spring brings it straight up to the floor. So I guess I just gotta be patient with that and get my fingers kind of crammed in there every single time. What do we got here? Not a lot to show for it. Crap. All right, we might be in business. Don't want to jinx it. Added another washer, another 1/16 of an inch, roughly. But now I can see it kind of dripping down the sides of the master cylinder, which means the piston, I believe, is returning and air is actually bubbling out, which is a good sign. That's why you kind of want to have the lid on when you're bleeding your brakes, but I'm going to do it for you anyway. Yeah, that's good stuff. It has not been doing that, which makes me think the piston has not been returning. We're not out of the woods. Not out of the woods. Positive mental shield must stay in place. That also means minimizing hope for now. We'll get there. We'll get there. We just gotta stay zen about it, because we might still have many problems yet to deal with. Where did I put my light, gang? Oh, it's got a magnet. That makes it tricky. Nope, right in front of me. What I absolutely don't want to do is run this thing dry. And yep, we're nice and low. It's moving fluid now. That is good news. We are indeed building pressure at this point. Foolishly, I just filled this back up. So I'll bleed the back brakes. So I'll bleed the back brakes a little bit more to lower it down, but sooner than later, we need to take this much out of our adapter, which is, I'm guessing it's 3/16, maybe a quarter. And we'll go heavy on that because that's the minimum. We can always adjust our push rod out, but I already adjusted our push rod all the way in. So we'll do that plus a fuzz. Now I did find a number online. Willwood makes a little thing, and it is 1.62 inches long. What we ended up with is 1.361 inches long. That's, I don't know, a heavy 1/8, 3/16 difference, but theirs has cupping on both ends. So it's rounded off on the back side and it's rounded off on the front side. So I don't know how much it sits in further in their master cylinder and how much the piston plunger thing fits in further. So the number is an interesting reference, but not particularly useful for us. The silver lining to pulling this thing off again is that we got results with our experimental washer additions. Maybe you could run it like that. I sure am not gonna. We need to do accurate arithmetic on modifying our poodle snapper for maximum success. We are gonna take our $5 caliper, 1 inch, 340 thousandths. Now we're gonna check each stack of washers, and I'm gonna use the thickest. Yeah, 0.265, okay. That's what we're gonna go with. Because we can always extend further out. We're already at our maximum, you know. So we gotta knock like a 1/4 inch off this fella. Got a final number, 0.080. That number doesn't necessarily relate to your project because the reality is there's a taper in the bore and this thing is just kind of fitting square. So if you've got a bullet shaped one, it's just gonna be different, but the process should be the same. Basically, we added 2 washers and that wasn't enough. It was the last washer that got us over the line, which makes me think that like we are at the absolute minimum at a 1/4 inch here. All right, I've just got this locked in real close to our number. I'm gonna use this poodle snapper when I have enough hands, make a mark, and then we're gonna cut it off right there. 10 years ago, I'd have lost my mind and been through 3 master cylinders already, thinking I just had one that was defective or wasn't pushing enough fluid, which is the same thing as defective, really. All right, I guess I got my thinking pants on because I jammed this in the vise. The mark is pretty much right at the jaws. And then I added a combo square to make it, you know, up and down correct relative to the jaws. We're just gonna cut it off flush. Why did I walk over here? What's over here that I need? Nothing. Nothing at all. It's curious. Should be looking for my safety glasses and a grinder though. Oh, hey, there they are. Was not all fruitless. Gonna let this little fella cool. Gang. I have Avengers this place. Like, there is so much collateral damage and wreckage.
Ooh-wee! Some pony really trashed this place.
Gang, what are you doing in there? I thought I'd lost you forever. You got to stay with me. All right, we're back together and we're back at the rear brakes. This is where the problem will manifest itself if we did not make that adapter short enougher-ish. Looks like it's working. You guys hear that dog? All night long, it's been outside the last 3 nights. It's got some lungs on it. Where we're standing right now is much further away than my bedroom window. Yeah, all night. We kind of have a pedal at this point. I was able to reach up through this hole right yonder, pull on the pedal. Yeah, I got a pedal, I think. Yep. And then I was able to reach over here, big stretch, and undo the bleeder on the passenger side, and then swing over and do a backwards loop-de-loop here. You guys should have seen it. I was like a prima ballerina, so graceful you wouldn't even believe. I think that pedal's as good as we're gonna get it by ourselves. I think the back brakes probably have a little more bleeding that could be done. The reason is when you, that dog, man. Oh my, we're just gonna work on through it. The reason being, so when you're bleeding the brakes, right, you got a little buddy, and if you've ever been the little buddy pushing the pedal, once the bleeder's cracked, that pedal pushes just a little bit more. And my bungee cord method wasn't really doing it. It was holding the pedal still, but wasn't giving it that extra bit of oomph. Because I functioned like a ninja and was able to do the front brakes by holding the pedal and bleeding it at the same time, I think the fronts are actually okay. I know what you're thinking. This is the wrong vehicle. Don't be pulling parts off of it. Well, we got an excess of vacuum line right here. So we're gonna just do a little snip and reconnectify. We got plenty to work with here. But it's just bringing me back, man. This pedal's hard as a rock. Always has been. I replaced this with an aftermarket one. There's just something ain't right, fellas. So feels like a bad booster, but I've changed the booster like 4 times. But that doesn't mean it's not a bad booster. I got a tiny drip. I heard it hit on the cardboard. It ain't much, But gang, ain't much is too much. So we gotta go get a new fitting. I'm suspicious of that. That's a factory kind of thing. I think the steel line stripped out the brass fitting. And it happens, man. It happens. Means we get to re-bleed the front brakes once we're done. Poo. Poo. It's brakes, man. Always this way. In my experience. Maybe you're better at it than me. A lot of people are better at a lot of things. Alright gang, so we gotta get into this fitting, which is it's a very precarious situation with brakes. First of all, you're gonna have leaky fittings somewhere. Hopefully you can tighten them. In this case, I saw a little brass. I know I stripped this thing. I was hoping for a miracle, okay? The danger is, I've got 3 lines. So I gotta fix one without destroying any one of the 3 on the new one. But that's just brakes. Yep, it was proper boogered up. All right, up close-o vision, gang. There just seems to be a bad thread on this thing. So I must have cross-threaded it because that was a new fitting. So we get to cut that end off, take this thing off, put a new thingy on, and reflare it and try to get it back in there before we drain this entire system. So ready, 1, 2, 3, go. Whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Not too shabby, and I remembered to put the fitting on. How about that? Not terrible. Line replaced, reflared, whole deal. New fittings in. They don't seem to be leaking. Fronts re-bled. Seem to be all right. I mean, I'm saying I got a pedal, but that's with this Popeye arm right here doing the pull your horn thing because, frankly, I'm too filthy for this car 99.678% of the time. So in order for me to get in there and actually push the brake pedal, I need to take like 3 showers, do a load of laundry, and put on 2 layers of clean clothes. We gotta wrap this thing up. I was lowering it down to see where it fished the power booster line up there through. Somehow my lift clobbered this thing and I got Earl on my Cadillac. Not good. This place is a mess. I'm getting into brake stuff mode. I gotta find my soap in a squirt bottle. I'm gonna solve these problems. Does anybody know where I put my squirt bottle? Are you my squirt bottle? You're my squirt bottle. Can't have that. A couple days in this heat, you'll start to get worse at everything. All right, step 1, find, hey, look at that. There you are, buddy. Viola. Next, where does one of these lines go on an Edelbrock carburetor? I don't know. Nobody does. You full of spiders? You probably are. We're gonna go to this big mama jamma. Well, that was torn right off anyway, so I guess it was due for some love. Sexiest thing I've ever done? Hard no. Passable? No, I don't know. And we found a vacuum leak that we didn't even know we had. Gang, I gotta go through with a full-blown costume change if I'm gonna get anywhere near the inside of this car. That's not even a joke. That's for real. I'm disgusting. Again. The next segment of our program is brought to you by Between the Sharks Scrubbin' Suds. Are you tired of a family member frowning upon dish soap being left in the shower? Are you tired of leaving greasy fingerprints on every door and light switch in the house? Well, grab yourself a bottle of Between the Sharks Scrubbin' Suds, guaranteed to leave you 50% less greasy, smelling 25% better, with at least 50% less scrubbing. Also safe for use on ducks. It's got a pedal. Could have a better pedal. Yeah, I don't feel great about it yet. Before we fire it up and check on this vacuum booster, let's get back under there and see, which is going to require another costume change. So we're another 8 hours in. Who the hell is counting? Not me. I figure at this point the pedal's as good as I can get it. I got a little more air out of the front lines after I climbed in the car. I think we have solved our leaks. I don't believe any wheel cylinders are leaking. If we do have a little bit of a leaky wheel cylinder, I should triple check and spray everything down with brake cleaner one more time. It got to the point where catching the excess brake fluid in a jar was just not even a thing. So instead we just let it go everywhere. Realize now I never checked the rear end fluid after we put the new rear end in with the new gasket, so clearly it's low. So we have to do my least favorite thing, which is get a bunch of gear oil into that rear end. Should put gear oil in the transmission if it needs it. Also occurred to me when I opened the hood there, we didn't pull this thing in here to do any of this. We pulled it in here to work on a charging issue, which we haven't worked on yet. So, espresso break, because I don't want to be covered in gear oil yet. Can't avoid it. It's gonna happen. But not until this is done. Well, the only way I know to do this is be the human dipstick.
You dipstick.
Hey man, that's actually not bad. Smells awful though. And hopefully, more importantly, hopefully, we can get these brakes done tonight. And tonight is coming on fast.
Not happening.
Captain's log, day 5.
Stay tuned for more.